I wish you could see our oasis so blue. We were all born here, unsure what that means. Our petty borders and wars don't mean a damn thing. A hateful world can feel so crowded now that I'm up here all alone. I wish you all could see you've forgotten your home. Look up, these stars are just the sea. Look up, stay the course with me. Look up, every river, every creature running wild, born our sacred mother's child. This place is our only home. Look up, you are not alone. Lights below, can you look above? Every single heart yearns to be loved. One thin blue skin is the breath of every life. Every tree breathes with us through the lonely night. If you were looking down beside me, would you forget the hand that feeds you? Know that no moment is wasted, that we carry each other through. Look out, these stars are just the sea. Look out, stay the course with me. Look out, every river, every creature running wild, born our sacred mother's child. This place is our only home. Look up, you are not alone. There is no them, there's only us. It's only this, it was always thus. We share this air, we share this sky, the world within. We are the reason why. Look up, these stars are just the sea. Look up, stay the course with me. Look up, every river, every creature running wild, born our sacred mother's child. This place is our only home. Look up, you are not alone.
It's a banger. I want to welcome back to the program here, Dr. Thomas W. Murphy. How are you, Tom?
Great, Joe. Thank you for the opportunity to come back. I think you've got an exciting show planned, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Thank you. And Tom and I discovered this week that we have gotten to know each other for the first time, that among the many things we have in common is that we both speak Spanish. In a way of welcoming to our guests today, some of whom speak Spanish, we would like to, as much as possible, to make it a bilingual broadcast tonight. And so I will say, a mi estimado nuevo amigo, Dr. Thomas Murphy, bienvenido sea.
Gracias. Es un honor estar aquí con usted.
Muy bien, muy bien. And as much as possible, we'll translate for ourselves. But we are fortunate to have Adriana here. Is both a chief and also going to act as interpreter from time to time for us. We're just going to navigate it as well as we can. O sea que sea lo más bilingüe que se puede ser este broadcast. But thank you all very much for being here. So, Tom, yeah, you go ahead.
I would like to offer welcome and thanks to our guests that will be coming to join us. Quisiera dar agradecimientos y bienvenido a nuestros invitados. Me llamo Thomas Murphy, soy un antropólogo y un autor. Soy un autor de un libro, se llama Unsettling Scripture, Iroquois and the Book of Mormon, or Escritura Descolonizada, Iroquois y el Libro de Mormón. In English, I'm an anthropologist, and my name is Thomas Murphy. I'm the author of Unsettling Scripture, Iroquois and the Book of Mormon. And I'm very interested in the conversations that we're going to have this evening with our guests. Estoy muy interesado en las conversaciones que vamos a tener con nuestros invitados.
And we are very excited today. I want to just emphasize, as we have done, and in keeping with the spirit of the conversation that Thomas and I have had in the past, enseguida de la conversación que tuvimos el miércoles de esta semana, we want to platform indigenous voices rather than speaking over them, and that is our vows. Que nosotros queremos escuchar a las voces indígenas y no hablar por ellos, sino que dejar que ellos hablen, ellas voces, hablen por sí misma. Y por eso lo vamos a subir ahora, la voz de la hora, para presentarnos y para ayudarnos a construir una buena conversación. We're going to construct a good conversation for us now. Our good friend and guest, nuestro amigo, nuestro invitado, el señor David Taylor. As soon as I find where he is. Chief Midegah,
can you hear me?
Thank you very much for being here. Yes, I hear you.
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear us at all? I hear you.
No, I am so sorry. What a bad time for my hearing not to work.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Incredible. Give me 1 second. I am going to disconnect.
Okay.
I am going to come right back. Technology is not always an Indian's best friend.
We'll bring David Taylor back in a moment. Vamos a subir a David Taylor mientras va arreglando su tecnología. Buena suerte. Good luck to him. But we have such great voices here with us. Mainly, we're going to be talking about la mayoría de lo que vamos a conversar ahora es to bring to light some of the effects of colonization that have impacted Chief Midegah's community. Que los efectos de la colonización sobre la comunidad, los socios de David Taylor, porque han habido muchas voces. There have been many voices of white people, de personas gringas, que hablan por ellos, que siempre y que hablan sobre encima de las voces de las personas indígenas. Y es por eso que se ha confundido de vez en cuando el mensaje. That's how the message gets confused, is when white voices start to speak for indigenous voices, more or less like what you're experiencing right now, más o menos como estamos haciendo ahora. Lo juro que vamos a dejar que ellos hablen por sí misma. I swear we are getting to the point where they will speak for themselves. But right now, Tom and I, we made a pact earlier today to say we are white voices who are making shelter and making space wherein indigenous voices can speak and speak for themselves. So that I want to make sure that everybody's in keeping with us. We have David Taylor, who can hear us. Yes,
I can hear you now. I can hear you. I really want. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Good.
I want to thank you for having me on, and it's really nice to meet you in a call, Dr. Murphy. And I just want to state from the beginning, having not known you prior to this process, I can certainly say that you are more on the bullseye of what's going on than anyone I've ever met outside of our communities. And I just want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you. That's a very generous comment. I've been following the saga that's been over the last few years, but I've also been following questions of indigenous sacred narratives in the Book of Mormon for
Yeah.
well over 30 years. And I'm going to translate into Spanish so that our other guests can hear. I don't know if you heard what I was translating earlier. Pero es un honor estar aquí con ustedes, con David. Y escuchando las conversaciones sobre estos temas durante los años pasados. Y también he estudiado por muchos años las interrelaciones entre el libro de Mormón y narrativas sagradas de la gente indígena. Es una cosa muy interesante a mí. So just saying that the connections between indigenous narratives in the Book of Mormon is a subject of a lot of interest to me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, David. How would you like to proceed? This is
Well,
finally the point where we are platforming.
I would like to bring everybody up if you can. I prefer to feel like I'm in the lodge. And this is where everybody sits together, staring at each other, not staring at we were together. And then I would just like to introduce some people before I share a song. Music, can you still hear me though? We're clear? Music is really important in the indigenous community. And it's the way that we can echo today the voice of our ancestors. And I heard this covered a couple days ago, and it's absolutely true. When we share a song that's old, it's as if those voices are speaking today. And it's if you have a tree with a root, no matter if it's a thin root or a thick root, it's the tree. It's fully the leaf at the top. And so I want to introduce us here. I want to first recognize my wife, Amy Taylor, is here. And I just want to tell everybody how grateful I am that I have a wife in this woman. That 2 years ago we made it was a tribal relationship, a union. We made a commitment to each other. And this was a hard commitment to make with the life that a little static there. This is a challenging thing for any person to take on, is this type of a relationship with how often I travel. But after a year, this January, we converted that into a civil marriage so that, everybody can know for a surety that this is the woman I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And I'm so grateful that she's here right now. Also is Chief Sinajuan McKinney. He's of the Kickapoo and Potawatomi Nation. Is he still on here? Yes, he is. He's also, and he is an Ogima, officially appointed under the same oaths that have been administered by the Iroquois Haudenosaunee Confederacy for 2,000 years. That he's also an apostle in the former RLDS called today the JCRB, and he is a proponent first of our people, and that the Book of Mormon peoples or restoration are a reflection of us, not vice versa. I would like to also recognize, and I'm going in a certain order, Miigweh, Ogima Miigweh. He is an Ojibwe Maya, and he is our principal liaison with the indigenous regions of North Mexico, which most Americans and Canadians are not aware of, that there are tribal groups in Mexico too. And they are in indigenous autonomous regions that have their own indigenous governors who are hereditary chieftains, and communities that act autonomously. And we have the majority of our unified project is in the desert of North Mexico because we're not wanted anywhere else. And so if we have to show a humanitarian issue, let's go to the desert and we will turn it into an orchard. We're going to show some people the miraculous effort when you care about Mother Earth. And this is the great Maya project in North Mexico. that is shared with the Anishinaabe. I'd like to recognize Josifer Sanchez, who is an elected representative of the Maya in the region of Quintana Roo, and he's leading the Mayan Library Project, which is assisting in gathering records in international relations, which we are nations with international relations to nation, as well as internally, and trying to bring together what's been fractured prior into what is the collective narrative. And this is across the board, and he'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. And I'd like to also recognize Abuela, a chief of La Ventana, and a principal liaison for communication between all Mayan leaders from Campeche to Quintana Roo to Yucatan to Chiapas to Guatemala, all the way down to the Mapuche of Argentina, and all the way north to the Salish of the Northwest, where Dr. Murphy spent a lot of time. And we are so very grateful for the La Ventana Project, which is the former heart, and it's still the heart of what was one Maya people, which is not a political identity. It is a spiritual way of living, which is a heavenly identity. And the replenishment project that has set the example for everyone to believe that we can do it again. And I would like to recognize my sister Jessica from my family. Thank you for coming on here and for all your hard work. I would like to recognize Chief Phil Lane, who is though not here today. He communicated with all parties as well as reached out to Dr. Murphy, who began his journey long ago with all of our great Eagle Elder, Chief Phil Lane of the Chickasaw Dakota Nation. He is our hereditary chief whose family has a history of service, and we appreciated his kind words of support today. Also recognize Ogeg Wanabek, who is the principal senior chief, traditional elder of the Algonquin of Quebec from the traditions of William Commanda. Who is connected to me through his indigenous brother, Tom DeStow, who was my elder from 1995 until his death in July of 2023. And lastly, I would like to recognize Nana Mima, who is the principal senior spiritual leader of the Maya of Central America and Guatemala, and who I am been privileged, absolutely honored to have been her eagle fire as she is sewing together the nations with kindness and love. And so each of them is going to share a message. After me would be Nana Mima, and then translated by Abuela Adriana. And then following that will be Jefe Yosifer. And following him will be, if Solomon Wawadi is able to come on, either in a remote region in North Quebec, then he'll share a prophecy about right now. And if not, we'll see him on Sunday in what will be the next call. This ain't the last right now. And then, and I think I hit everybody, but so I'll share I think I hit everybody, Joe.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think so. And I think
Can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, can you hear me? Does everyone hear me? Because that thumbs up if you hear me. Hey.
Okay. So I'm just going to share a short message. I'm not going to talk a lot. People have had me talking too much the last 2 years, and I haven't wanted it. And I think everybody in this call knows that we have been trying to have other voices talk. But what we have this. David, can you go on mute? Yeah, what we have discovered in the last 2 years is that, particularly in the restoration, there is a fixation on individuals. But in our culture, there's a fixation on the body as a whole. And we are called to sit in a circle as one. That It is very challenging within the indigenous spiritual identity to differentiate the influence of Christianity, restoration, and traditional indigenous. They are so intermixed over the period of time of the last 500 years that you can't cut fine lines of this goes here and that goes there. But what is very clear, as Dr. Murphy discovered in his time with the indigenous peoples, is that the stories that are found in the Book of Mormon were prior known and prior existent, perhaps in a non-Anglicized form, and nothing about that is going to go away. That is a reality that is going to have to be accepted regardless if my voice is silenced. You can't silence the history of ancestors speaking from the dust saying we exist. Even if they exist in creations of the 17th or 18th century or a millennia ago or 5,000 years ago, they're a part of our story. And because they're a part of our story, they're a part of our message, which is we're one human family. There's only one creator in creation. And regardless of the view you have on the fire, your view is your view. And we show respect to each person's view and we do not divide. I would share a very important message that we have to stop looking for perfect people, especially in the indigenous communities and in your own. I am not a perfect person. I definitely have never claimed to be a saint. I was called into a path by my grandmother and great uncle, and I do my very best to see that through. I have had the opportunity to cross paths with a lot of traditions. These are knowledge and a way of knowing in an area that relates to those who lived in the area. And experiences related to a peacemaker or great teachers of influence that could be perceived as a Christ-like figure that, as Dr. Murphy has said a couple times, transitions from trickster to Messiah and back and forth, is incredibly common. These stories and narrations exist pre-1830, and they're a part of our identity, but they've not been adequately shared due to the policies that have continued from colonial governments as well as churches that have cared more about talking to us than listening to us, and have cared more about providing to us while slapping from our hands. And we would just say we honor all traditions, we honor all views, we respect all people's relationship with the Creator and the fire, but we can share our truth as we know it. And that's the truth that we have to, at the end of the day, accept. And I'll just repeat this, that it is not perfectly clear the influence of our traditional faiths upon Christianity or upon Mormonism, but it is perfectly clear that we've influenced each other and that we have far more in common than we have in division. I haven't read about 75% of the records that have been presented because that wasn't my job. My job is not to validate, I believe this or I don't believe that. My job is to present the truth as our network has provided it. And it's a justification enough to sit down and talk and to stop the division. I'm gonna close with one thing and then go into a song. Um, I am not a perfect person. This week is a sacred week to my family. It's a week of sorrow, and this is not a meeting that I would have today without such a strong support network of my indigenous brothers and sisters. I lost a son 4 years ago yesterday. Three days outside of the United States Army, he took his own life. These are decisions, that's a decision that he made. But we also have to be honest with ourselves. And the person that I was in my 20s and 30s was a United States Marine. I was not an approachable person. I might have been a provider, but I was not a good father. I did not provide the time to my son that he needed to know the scars that I carried from the decisions I made in joining the service. I was not the best listener. And in that way, I think in my knowledge of Western ways of doing things, I was very much acting that way. The man that I was before I was 35 was not somebody I am proud of. That my son had no reason to believe that he could call me if he had a problem. And I don't say that to like condemn myself. I say that to profess the truth of growth. That each one of us has periods of time we're not proud of. Each one of us has outcomes that occur that we can't control that force us to look in a mirror and reflect. I can say losing my son changed the trajectory of my relationship with my two younger sons who are 10 and 8. It also changed the trajectory of my relationship with the sons I obtained in marrying my wife, Amy, who had a husband who died in a plane crash, and sons who are 6, 8, 10, 16, 17, and 19, a daughter who's 19, and a son who I believe is 21 or 22. Don't get mad, Amy. Okay. But the 6, 8, and 10-year-old, they get the me now that I am proud of. And my 8 and 10-year-old get to me that I am proud of. We have to stop elevating people up onto pedestals. We have to start sitting together and accepting that we're all broken. Nobody's perfect. Nobody knows it all. That it's going to take all of us working together to bring peace and kindness. I've had a very challenging last 2 years. The only thing that I have tried to convey is that the traditions that are carried in the Western culture upon our lands are deeply rooted within our traditional culture. There's not a clear divide, that we're not so far separated that we can't become friends, brothers, and sisters again. That it's worth investigating what we share in common, the drop of water that could unite us, that we would rather be doers than talkers. And so what we're focused on is internal to our own people. And we did not release the sacred records to replace anything that anyone else has, nor did we say that they're the conclusive cap on the information that exists. What we did was produce what exists as a justification for a conversation on a tradition carried in a Western culture that is heavily attacked and assaulted. To say that that has roots with us in a non-Anglicized form. And that is okay to accept. It doesn't take anything from you. But in fact, it adds the confidence to you that we share a lot in common. And if that's the case, then what could we do? I want you to wake up. There is an entire hemisphere of the earth, from the Arctic to the Antarctic, that has no voice, that has no first person right to share their own history. that has no first person right to define who's in their family, that has no first person right to speak politically for the benefit of their own people. An entire hemisphere has no right to define their own family. And these are controlled by colonial systems. And we would say, isn't it enough? Do we have the right to speak for ourselves now that we know your language? If in speaking we are saying, you're my brother and you're my sister. At this point, we're here and we're together. So can we please try to allow us the ability to be restored? Restored is not assimilation. Restored is not adopting your way of doing things. Restored is tolerance and respect. Restored is allowing our knowing, which can be oral and it can be genetic, and in some cases it can be written and carried forward, that we're not looking to be replaced and we're not looking to replace you. We're looking to stand together, and that's it. I had a couple elders in my life that mean a lot to me. And this is a summation of my 2 years. I had a really strong elder most of my life named Tom DeStow. And he was on the Council of William Commanda. And before William Commanda died, he had transferred his authority to Tom, and most Algonquin called him chief until he died in July of 2023. That I had an elder named Newton Onabish Jimmy Greatwalker, who used to run all the thirsty dances in the Great Plains. And I was very blessed that in the tradition that was given to me was to share the voice of my ancestors in song. And there's one song that means so much to me. And what it means is that I remember my ancestors, that I remember my relations, and I remember as clear as the sun in the sky and the moon in the night, that I'll never forget. And no matter how many centuries go by, no matter how many generations are removed from who we are still who we are. Whether we speak our original language or we speak your language, whether we speak Spanish, French, Portuguese, or English, we are all equal victims of Europe. And it's time that we are saw as that is a humanitarian crisis. And we need to have better awareness to our voice. And that starts with our own families and our own identity, which cannot be defined by constitutions forced upon us or mathematical measurements that are forced upon us or borders and boundaries that are dividing us. That on this call are peoples from the north and south, and the borders go east-west, and those are intentional to divide the way we were. And so I would just ask for you to kindly listen to the words and messages of those who speak after me, and to choose to just be your best self. We're going to help our people, and we hope that one day you'll choose to assist us in that as well. But we have it within us to save ourselves. We got to put our mask on first, and that's what we're doing right now. Is that clear, Joe?
That's clear. That's
Okay,
clear.
so I'm going to sing a song and then hand it over to Adriana and Mima, and then straight to Yosifer, and then we can go to Q&A. Now, when I hand it over, I'm going to have to disconnect again because I can't hear you guys. And that's okay. This is maybe it's time for me to be able to breathe, right? I would just say this before I sing this song: my ancestors are your ancestors. We share far enough back the same families. The waters didn't always divide us. And so when I'm singing this song, I'm singing a song that your ancestors would have known as well. And I hope that it inspires something within you that is more focused on kindness and less on. Do you hear that? Okay. Yeah, that's more focused on kindness and less on destroying people. I would say this, that if your entire intention is to destroy somebody, then you've lost the opportunity to create something. And there's so much more positive in planting a seed and watering it, because it always brings life. And I hope more of us start planting seeds of kindness, unity, respect, tolerance, and to remember that the great attributes of Western philosophy is the idea of individual liberty and freedom, to have a voice. My voice does not have to be the same as yours, and my beliefs don't have to be the same as yours for us to be the same human family. That I think it's the diversity that makes it wonderful. That to every people is given a view of creation, and you're judged based upon what you've received, not another. And we've had enough replaced and we've had enough taken. So I think it's time that we have the dignity of at least our voice. And so I'm going to share this voice. Before I do, I need to introduce myself to my ancestors, because we believe that they're never not with you, that even my son is with me, watching me, and the moment I drop my robe, he'll be right before me. And I will be able to show the kindness and the love of a father that he deserved, and that I can honestly say he did not have. And that's the miracle of this life. It's the next breath, and it's the next choice. We need to stop condemning each other for the past. So I'd say, nini nana magin, David Taylor, indigenous, ogima sangab, Midegah ogichi da'a, shoshepa nisha nindigo ojebaimon. Adik nindudam, abya yala nindunjaba. Gimme quen mi gom, gizhes eshes agiyan, zegoyan. Gimme quen mi gom, ba beoyan. Mekwenda gojida, abengoja. Mekwenda gojida, abengoja. Gimme quen mi gom, ane kube jiganag. Gimme quen mi gom, inawe magana. Mekwenda gojida, abengoja. Mekwenda gojida, abengoja. And then we would say chimigwich, and that means thank you from my heart. And so I'm gonna check out, and nanamima. Thank you, Dr. Murphy.
Thank you very much, David. And hopefully you'll be able to log back in. You'll be able to hear us when you do. But take a breather. Well, as I understand it now, we should go ahead. Vamos a tener a Nana Mima, quien tiene la misma nombre que mi abuelita. Nana Mima has the same name as my grandmother. Those of you who don't speak Spanish, it's not unique to me. Everybody calls her Grandma Nana. But and we have Adriana who will be translating for us. Is that correct, Adriana?
Correct, brother. Thank you. Do you hear
Thank
me
you.
well? Ok, abuelita, yo le voy a traducir y nos escuchan bien. Muchas gracias.
Bueno, buenas noches a todos.
Good evening, everybody.
con el permiso de sus rostros, sus corazones,
with the permission of your faces and your hearts,
de sus esencias y sus presencias.
of your essences and your presence.
Tengo el gran privilegio de entregar el mensaje de los abuelos en este momento.
I have the greatest privilege to deliver the message of our elders, our ancestors.
Trabajamos con el calendario maya.
We work with the Mayan calendar,
Tenemos dos calendarios.
and we have two calendars.
Está el lunar y el solar.
We have the lunar calendar and the moon calendar and the sun calendar.
El solar es el que tiene los 365 días.
The sun calendar, it's the one that carries 365 days.
Y es el que rige la siembra, la cosecha y el comercio.
And that is the one that rules the soil, the commerce, and la siembra, el comercio, ¿y qué más, Abu?
La siembra, la cosecha y el comercio.
Yes, the land and the commerce to grow and to pick up whatever you have grown.
Y el calendario lunar, que es el
And
que
the-
rige nuestras vidas.
And the moon calendar, the one that rules our lives.
Nuestros meses tienen 20 días
Our months have 20 days,
y cada día tiene una energía
and each day has an energy
o espíritu.
or spirit.
Y en el idioma maya se le llama nahual.
And in the Mayan language, we call it Nahual.
Entonces, cada día se representa esa energía y es lo que se manifiesta ese día.
So every day has that energy, and that's what it's getting represented.
De manera de que cuando la persona nace en ese día, sus cualidades y sus debilidades van a ser de acuerdo a la energía de ese día.
So when a person is born, their qualities and its virtues or none are because of the energy of the day.
Es importante decir que toda la sabiduría ancestral maya
It is very important to say that the ancestral Mayan wisdom,
es dual todo.
everything is about duality.
Se trabaja con la dualidad y la cuatriedad.
We work with duality and the four directions.
Pero cada número tiene su trabajo, por decir así.
And each number, I would say, has its own work.
Y las energías son del 1 al 13.
And the energies go from 1 to 13.
Cada número tiene su trabajo, como el nahual también.
Every number has its work as much as the Nahual.
Y como toda energía, pues tiene dos polaridades.
And as every energy, it has two polarities,
Que es la negativa y la positiva.
negative and positive.
Y no porque es negativo es malo, ni porque es positivo es bueno.
And it doesn't have to do negative is bad or positive is good.
Sino el desequilibrio de cualquiera de las dos es lo que hace daño.
But the imbalance of any of those energies is that harms.
Las dos energías son muy vitales en nuestro ser,
Both energies are vital in our being,
pero en equilibrio.
but in balance.
No se le puede quitar lo negativo a una persona ni lo positivo.
You cannot take away the negative energy of a person, neither the positive,
Porque entonces se quedaría divorciado.
because in that case that he would be divorced.
En este momento la humanidad está divorciada de sus energías.
In this moment, humanity is divorced from their own energies.
Y por eso estamos como estamos.
And that's why we are the way we are.
Todas las cosmovisiones y filosofías del mundo hablan de lo mismo.
All the cosmovisions from the whole world talk about the same thing.
Solo como por decir un ejemplo de los chinos, el yin yang.
Just to mention an example, the Chinese talk about yin yang.
En nosotros es femenino, masculino,
In the Mayan, it's feminine, masculine,
negativo, positivo,
negative, positive,
cualidades y debilidades.
qualities and weaknesses.
Y todo es útil para cada persona.
And everything is useful for each person.
Entonces expliqué esto muy resumidamente porque es muy extenso.
So I have explained this in a very short way because it is very extensive.
Para que se pueda entender la energía del día de hoy.
So everybody can understand the energy of today.
El día de hoy se está manifestando el número 3, Ajpu.
Today, the number 3 Ajpu energy is being manifested.
Y el Ajpu, en el lado positivo,
And the Ajpu in the positive way
representa el sol.
represents the sun.
Pero no es necesariamente el sol físico que vemos y que nos alumbra,
Not necessarily the physical sun that we see that light upon us,
sino representa nuestro sol interior.
but it also represents our inner sun.
Depende de nosotros cómo está ese sol, si está brillando o está cubierto de nubes oscuras.
It depends on us if that sun within is shining bright or covered by dark clouds.
Y el trabajo del Ajpu es con el mí mismo.
And the work of the Ajpu, it's a work within yourself, within ourselves.
Eso quiere decir que al trabajar yo mí mismo tengo que morir a mí mismo.
That means that working within ourselves means I need to die within.
Porque para poder resucitar primero hay que morir.
Because in order to rebirth, you have to first die.
Entonces, cuando yo trabajo mis energías,
So when I work upon my energies,
sabiendo mi positivo y mi negativo para llevarlo en equilibrio,
being aware of my negative and my positive to walk in balance,
entonces estoy trabajando mi ser, mi interior.
then I'm working within myself.
Y cada vez que yo trabajo en mí mismo, voy muriendo a sí mismo lo que le llaman ego.
So when I work within myself, a part of me is starting to die step by step, and that's what we call ego.
Y por supuesto que no es fácil el trabajo.
And of course, the work is not easy,
pero tampoco es imposible.
but also it's not impossible.
Debo de tener voluntad y fuerza propia
I need to have will and self-strength
para poder hacer ese trabajo interior.
to be able to fulfill that inner work.
¿Y cuál es el fin de este trabajo?
And what is the objective of this work?
Que al morir voy a resucitar
When I die within, I will reborn within.
y cuando resucito me cristifico.
And when I am rebirth, I crucify myself.
entonces despierto la conciencia.
And then is when I wake up my consciousness.
Al ser un ser despierto de conciencia,
When I become a awakened, conscious being,
entonces voy a brillar con mi sol interior.
it's when I shine with my inner sun.
Ese es el lado positivo del Ajpu, pero está el lado negativo.
That is the positive side of the Ajpu. And there is also the negative side.
La persona que nace bajo este nahual,
The person that is born in this Nahual,
si está ignorante de lo que significa y de su trabajo que tiene que hacer,
when this person is not conscious about its work and the mission that it's due to do,
entonces con sus actitudes empieza a tapar su sol interior.
with his own or her own attitude starts covering her or his inner sun.
No solo con nubes oscuras, sino también con basura, con suciedad.
Not only with dark clouds, but with garbage, with with dirtiness.
Y el punto número uno es el irrespeto.
And the number one point, it's lack of respect.
Y entonces miren, en el universo todo es perfecto.
So look, in the universe, everything is perfect.
Hoy estamos hablando de la unificación y el respeto.
Today, we're talking about unification and respect.
Y es lo que se está manifestando o se manifestó todo el día de hoy.
And it was the manifestation of the energy of the day.
Entonces, si la persona va equilibrada, va a respetar, va a trabajar su mí mismo y va a despertar.
So if the person is walking in balance, it's going to walk in respect, it's going to walk in working within, and it's going to be awakened.
Pero si no, cuando hay irrespeto, ¿qué es lo que pasa?
But when there is lack of respect,
no respetamos a los animales, ni a las plantas, ni a las personas.
we don't respect the animals, we don't respect the plants, we don't respect the people.
No respetamos a los elementos,
We don't respect the elements,
que son los que nos dan la vida.
which are the ones that give us life.
Para los mayas, los 4 elementos son nuestros grandes abuelos.
For the Maya, the 4 elements are our great elders.
Y no es que los adoremos, pero los reverenciamos mucho.
We don't adore them, but we revere them.
Porque sin aire no vivo,
Because without air, I don't live.
sin agua tampoco,
Without water, I don't live.
sin el fuego tampoco,
Without fire, I don't live.
y sin la tierra menos.
And without the land, the soil, I
Entonces
don't live.
nosotros decimos, el gran abuelo viento, la
So
abuela agua,
that's how we call our elders, the great elder, the water, the great elder, the fire,
el abuelo fuego y la madre tierra.
our elder fire, and our beloved Mother Earth.
Pero no respetamos a nuestra madre tierra.
But if we do not respect our Mother Earth,
Le hacemos daño por todos lados.
we hurt her in every ways.
Y cualquiera dirá, ay, sí, tiro la basura y es una falta de respeto, abro un hoyo, es otra falta de respeto, arranco un árbol, es una falta de respeto.
So if we throw garbage or if we make a hole without asking permission, if I throw a tree, it is all a lack of respect.
Pero al faltarle respeto al humano,
And we lack of respect to humans,
también le estoy faltando el respeto a los elementos,
I am also lacking respect to the elements
porque los 4 elementos conforman nuestro cuerpo.
because the 4 elements are within our own body.
Tenemos a la tierra, que es nuestra carne, nuestros huesos, que es lo que se va a volver polvo.
We have the soil that is in our muscles, in our bones, that are soil.
Y tenemos el agua, que es nuestra sangre y todos nuestros fluidos, hasta los mocos.
And we have the water, all the fluids, the blood, even the mucus,
Las lágrimas, todo,
the tears,
todo,
everything,
el sudor, esa es nuestra
the
agua.
sweat, that is our water.
Y el viento está dentro de nosotros también porque está transformado en oxígeno.
And the wind is also within ourselves because it's in form of oxygen.
Si la célula no tiene oxígeno, se muere.
If the cell doesn't have oxygen, it will die.
Y tenemos al fuego también porque es nuestra temperatura. Si está baja la temperatura, morimos, y si está alta también.
And we have also the fire within. If the temperature in our bodies goes too high, we die. If it goes too low, we die.
Y por último tenemos, bueno, ya dije los 4, ¿no? Tierra,
Sí.
agua, fuego y viento. Bueno, entonces cuando le faltamos el respeto a una persona, no importa la edad,
when we lack respect to any person, it doesn't matter who or age,
también le estamos faltando el respeto a los abuelos.
we are also lacking respect to our elders.
Y encima de eso renegamos de la lluvia, renegamos del sol.
And not only that, we can also be lacking respect because it's raining too much or because it's too sunny.
Renegamos del polvo, renegamos del viento. Ay, me entró la basura en el ojo.
The dust, the wind. Sometimes we get angry at it because maybe I get a little piece of something in my eye.
Entonces, si nos examinamos, todos somos irrespetuosos.
So really, if we pay attention, we are all lacking respect.
La importancia para el maya es la impecabilidad.
The importance, that is the importance for the Maya, the impeccability.
Y la impecabilidad empieza desde cómo pienso.
Impeccability begins on how I think,
cómo veo,
how I see,
si estoy juzgando a las personas
if I'm judging the person
y no estoy viendo mi error.
And I'm not even looking at my own mistakes.
¿Cómo escucho? ¿Qué escucho?
How I listen, what I am listening.
¿Qué hablo? ¿Qué expreso?
What I am speaking, what I am expressing.
Si lo que escuché lo estoy expresando corregido y aumentado.
If what I heard, I am talking and I am putting something else in what I heard and sharing it differently.
¿Qué es lo que guardo en mi corazón? ¿Guardo amor o guardo odio?
What do I have in my heart? Do I keep love or do I keep hatred?
¿Qué guardo en mi corazón? ¿Guardo paz o guardo guerra?
What do I keep in my heart? Do I keep peace or war?
Porque la guerra se inicia dentro de mí.
because war starts within,
al igual que la paz.
same as peace.
Entonces, somos el reflejo de lo que está afuera. O sea, todo lo que estamos viendo es porque yo lo estoy proyectando.
So outside is the reflection of the inside, because everything that is outside, that's what I am reflecting.
Lo maya no es una religión, es una ciencia.
The Maya is not a religion, it is a science.
Pero esa ciencia trata la manera de vivir en la cosmovisión.
But it is a way of living through a cosmovision.
Eso quiere decir que voy a estar en paz y en unidad con el universo.
That means that I'm going to be in peace and harmony with the universe,
Empezando por mi propio universo.
starting by my own universe.
Cómo trato mi cuerpo, cómo me cuido, si lo trato mal. Desde ahí empieza.
It starts on how I take care of my body. That's where I begin.
Y el gran maestro Jesús lo dijo, ama a tu prójimo como a ti mismo.
And the great teacher, Jesus said, love your body as you love yourself.
Pero si yo no me amo,
love your prójimo, your brother and sister, as you
Yeah.
love yourself. Sorry.
y entonces si no, digamos, si yo no me amo, ¿cómo voy a amar a los demás?
So if I don't love myself, how am I going to love the others?
¿Cómo me expreso? ¿Hacia dónde camino?
How do I express myself? How do I walk?
Si lo que yo estoy expresando es lo que hablo,
If I am
lo que expreso con
expressing,
mis actitudes.
it's what I'm doing and what I am expressing with my attitudes.
Eso en resumida palabra es impecabilidad.
So that in one word would be impeccability.
Entonces, el día de hoy, el Ajpú, ese es el gran mensaje.
So this
Que-
is the great message of the Akpu today.
El respeto a través de la impecabilidad.
Respect through impeccability.
Y el número 3, como les dije que el 3, los números tienen su significado. El 3 es un triangulito.
And number 3, as I told you before, it has an energy. Number 3 is a triangle.
Y para nosotros el triángulo es el ritmo.
For us, triangle is the rhythm.
Es 1, 2, 3. 1,
1,
2,
2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
como dirigiendo la orquesta con ritmo.
Like leading the orchestra with rhythm.
Pero si la persona está desequilibrada, no va a estar así en ritmo.
But if that person is not in balance, the rhythm is not going to be like that.
Entonces va a estar como la mojarra haciéndose los quites de un lado para otro.
It's going to be like the fish going from one side to the other.
Esa es la diferencia.
It's a
Entonces,
big difference.
¿cómo voy a vivir? ¿Cómo voy a expresarme? El respeto. Y me preguntaba alguien.
So
¿y qué
how I'm going
hacemos?
to live, somebody would ask me, what would we do?
¿Y qué hacemos para poder trabajar en mí mismo?
What would we do to work within myself?
Simplemente tenemos que regresar al principio.
We have to go back to the beginning.
¿Y cuál es el principio? Me preguntan.
And what is the beginning? They ask me.
El respeto. Eso es lo número 1.
Number 1, the beginning is respect.
Ese es el principio. Si yo respeto,
If I
me
respect,
respeto a mí,
I respect myself,
voy a respetar a todos,
I will respect everybody.
y con ese respeto va a haber unificación.
With that respect, there will be unification.
Va a haber paz, armonía
There will be peace and harmony
y verdadero amor.
and true love.
Entonces va a haber una buena justicia,
Then there will be good justice.
los caminos van a estar abiertos,
The pathways are going to be open.
siempre va a haber germinación de las siembras, nunca va a hacer falta el alimento.
There will always be germination of the seeds, and we will have lots of food,
Tanto el alimento espiritual como el material.
the physical food as the spiritual food.
Y nuestra fe va a estar bien cimentada.
And our faith is going to be in a good platform.
Porque si yo me amo, voy a tener confianza en mí misma.
Because if I love myself, I am going to believe in myself and have trust in myself.
Y si yo tengo confianza en mí misma es porque yo creo en mí.
And if I have confidence in myself, it's because I believe in myself.
Por ejemplo, dentro de las parejas, si la mujer confía en ella, no tiene por qué sentir celos de su marido.
It's, for instance, in amongst the couple, if the woman has confidence within herself, she doesn't have to feel any jealousy.
Y de igual manera el hombre hacia su mujer.
And the same way from the man to the woman.
Bueno, hay demasiado que hablar porque de cada nahual podemos escribir un libro así de grande.
There's so many things to talk about because from every Nahual we can write a book.
Esto solo es una pincelada porque el tiempo es cortito. Bueno, en los mayas somos hijos del tiempo, no hay problema, pero a veces con la tecnología.
So just to be aware of time, even though the Maya, we manage the time, but the no time, but
pero con la tecnología pues tenemos que actuar con moderación porque hay otras personas que también tienen que dar su mensaje.
So I will be in moderation because there are other relatives that have to give their message.
Los abuelos han hablado.
The elders have spoken.
Y yo muy agradecida por el tiempo que me han concedido para transmitir el mensaje.
And I am very grateful for the opportunity to share this message.
Gracias al corazón del cielo.
Thank you to the heart of heaven, to the heart of Mother Earth.
Gracias al corazón del agua, al corazón del aire.
Thank you to the heart of water and to the heart of wind.
Y gracias al corazón del fuego.
And thanks to the heart of fire.
Y brillen siempre, que su sol siempre brille.
May your sun always be shining.
Mal Dios, Tlazocamati, o Meteo.
Tlazocamati, o Meteo.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
I guess
Ahora bien.
Adriana.
Go ahead, David. Oh, go ahead, Adriana. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you, beloved relatives, elders, leaders, and guardians of Mother Earth. Today, I speak from the heart about a sacred place called La Ventana in Palenque, Chiapas, a place where the jungle still remembers the prayers of our ancestors, where the river sings the songs of the Maya people, and where the spirit of unity is rising once again. La Ventana is not simply land, it is a living sanctuary for the awakening of our Maya relatives and for the healing of the human family. It is a place where ancient wisdom, community, nature, ceremony, and love for Mother Earth come together again after generations of separation. For many years, we worked with very limited resources, trying to sustain this vision and protect the sacred place. But sometimes, when a vision truly belongs to the earth, the ancestors begin to move people together in miraculous ways. Today, we want to express our deepest gratitude to our beloved brother, Chief Phil Lane Jr., the first international indigenous leader who truly recognized and honored our communitary work. His trust and encouragement gave strength to our hearts and reminded us that we were not alone. Then, on December year 2024, another blessing arrived. Chief David Midegah came to meet us personally. From the moment we gathered, something ancient awakened between our peoples. He recognized us as part of his family, and we recognize him as part of ours. As members of the Deer clan, we understood that Spirit had reunited relatives across the world for a sacred purpose. For years, we had tried in every possible way to raise funds to build a bridge for our community. It seemed impossible. But in less than 3 months, Chief Midegah united hearts and gathered the resources to make this dream a reality. Together, we built more than a physical bridge. We built a bridge of unity, a bridge of peace, a bridge between nations, cultures, and ancestral prophecies. And his support did not stop there. Through his generosity and belief in this movement, he also supported the strengthening of the Maya bioregion movement and the equinox ceremony this past March. Because of this support, we were able to fund our annual community development program for 25 local leaders and organize a Melipona Bee workshop for 30 Maya women, helping protect ancestral knowledge, biodiversity, and the sacred relationship between humanity and Mother Earth. Today, we say clearly, when you support Chief Midegah, you are supporting far more than a project. You are supporting a prophecy, a vision of reconciliation, a vision of love for Mother Earth, a vision where the human family remembers again that we belong to one another. From the depths of our hearts, thank you for walking with us, believing in us, and helping this sacred fire continue to rise. Thank you for this space with so much love, so much care, and so much respect to our voices. Aho, Tlazokamati, Ometeotl, in Lakesh, Alaken. Thank you so much. Joseph?
Okay. Muchas gracias, abuelita. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Chief Midegah, for having me here, for the invitation. Thank you, Joe, Thomas, abuelita Nana, Mima, abuelita Adriana, Jessica, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Well, I'm going to try to be brief. Excellent. It's amazing what we've been progressing in this movement together since individually we have many talents. Each one have individual talents. Nana Mima, she's the specialist with the calendar, and Abuela Adriana, she's a specialist in many things. Oh my God, I'm surrounded of people so talented. Chief Midegah has been also a leader that has support many goals and visions that we have together, because we know, or at least we recognize that we're individuals and we have talents by ourselves, and we want to build from those talents our projects and our life, in fact. So, and I come from the library science. I'm a librarian. I study librarianship, and I believe in knowledge. So what my role here is to help these beautiful people. Para traducir a la abuelita Nana Mima, no estoy hablando en español, se me olvidó hablar en español, perdón. Muchas gracias por tenerme aquí, al jefe Midegah, a las abuelitas, a Thomas, a Joe, gracias por tenerme aquí, por la invitación. Y bueno, pues trataré de ser muy breve, platicar de que estoy sumamente agradecido de estar aquí, de platicar del progreso que hemos tenido en estas maravillosas iniciativas que hemos tenido todos juntos. Cada quien poniendo su talento, cada quien poniendo su individualidad, cada quien poniendo su personalidad y su ser en este camino. So we've been putting this talent, these skills on this road. We reach, and at some point we become united as we are today. Why? Because we're walking the same road. We're walking in the same road of union, of reconciliation. En algún momento dado, pues todos estos talentos nos fuimos encontrando en el camino, abuelita Nana Mima, abuelita Adriana, ¿no? Nos fuimos encontrando en el camino y porque es el mismo camino el que estamos caminando. Entonces ahí es en donde nos reunimos, ahí es en donde nos encontramos y es ahí en donde estamos compartiendo nuestros talentos y nuestras virtudes en ese camino, que ¿cuál es? El del amor, el de la reconciliación, el de la unión, ¿verdad? La unión, la paz, la reconciliación. So in this road that we are walking together, and we found ourselves immersed in this same road with our individualities, recognizing each other as unique. So we've been building different projects, and my role is to assist these beautiful people, assist Nana Mima, assist Abuelita Adriana, assist Chief Midegah with what? With technology, of science, of data, of information. ¿Cuál es mi rol aquí? Pues ser sus asistentes. Los estoy asistiendo a ti, abuelita Nana Mima, a la abuelita Adriana, al Chief. ¿Con qué? Pues con la tecnología, que es en lo que yo tengo mi talento. Tengo ese talento en la tecnología y es la parte en la que yo estoy poniendo mi talento y yo los ayudo en esta parte. How am I trying to help? Well, with digital strategies, with communication, we're trying to build libraries, right? One of the main goals is to build libraries. ¿Cómo? Pues con proyectos digitales, con una estrategia digital, con bibliotecas. Also, abuelita Adriana mentioned the Mayan bioregion. La abuelita Adriana mencionó la Mayan bioregion, and there's where it starts also many things. There's where it starts mixing all these beautiful things of preserving nature, but also preserving indigenous culture, preserving natural culture, natural knowledge. Let's say, está este camino de preservar el conocimiento indígena, sí, el conocimiento ancestral, sí, el conocimiento natural. Eso es lo que hay que preservar. Why? Because in this natural knowledge, there's the medicine. There's many things that we can take from there, and we are losing them in a very fast pace. ¿Por qué? Porque en este conocimiento natural, ahí está la medicina, abuelita. Ahí en este conocimiento de la naturaleza es donde nos estamos curando y se nos está yendo a pasos agigantados. So what I bring here is a way to recover, to preserve, to give a space, to provide a space. La forma en la que estoy tratando de apoyar es de proveer de un espacio, un lugar, and a space where freely each people can build their own library. Each people can put their own knowledge that they want to share. Un lugar donde cada persona va a ser libre de difundir el conocimiento que quiera cada uno difundir, without any filters or things like that, because at least me, and I think we all share here with my brothers, sisters, my abuelas, that we respect everybody's ways of dressing, behaving, living, all this stuff. You know, we want to increase the diversity and the expression, multiple expressions of divinities, of multiple expressions of how we express our ideas, emotions, and what human being is. Entonces, estas bibliotecas es un lugar para que las personas vayan y ahí puedan comunicar la forma en la que ellos piensan de la divinidad, la forma en la que ellos piensan del mundo, de una manera libre, sin poner filtros. Es decir, so we're building the La Ventana, we're helping La Ventana library, we're building the Nana Mima's library because they are libraries. Abuelita Adriana, she's a living library also. Nana Mima is a living library. I'm sure Dr. Thomas is a library. I'm sure Joe is another library. I mean, we're all, and of course, Chief Midegah is a library. Jessica, it's a library. We all have something that probably we can share. How? In union, reconciliation, peace, because we don't want fighting and things like, at least not in the projects that I'm building. ¿Cómo, abuelita, construir esto? Sí, con una forma libre de compartir las cosas, pero ¿cómo? En armonía, en paz, de una forma sana, no, porque no queremos pelear. Nosotros no estamos peleando. At least in the things that we're building, we're not fighting against anyone. We're not fighting against any government, we welcome everybody, against any church, against any particular thing. On the contrary, we're welcoming everybody. En estas bibliotecas no estamos excluyendo a nadie, al contrario, estamos invitando a que todos se unan, gobiernos, si vienen con la paz, la reconciliación, iglesias, personas, o sea, todos están bienvenidos, siempre y cuando cumplan con compartir las ideas con paz, armonía, orden, ¿no? So this is what I bring. I don't know if I, in union, claro. I don't know if I can share my screen, my dear Joe. I'll share if you let me share my screen.
I'd be happy to. Are you able to share from there? I'll be happy to bring it up.
Excellent. So there it is.
Let's see here.
So this is already an output. Esto ya es un resultado del trabajo que hicimos juntos. Can you see me there?
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Yes. This is already let's say this is the first draft, the first version, initial version. This is an output we built together. This is called native because we think, the people here, we think that we all native from where? From nature. Este trabajo es un trabajo que hicimos en equipo, es un primer resultado que hicimos todos los aquí presentes juntos, Nana Mima, la abuelita Adriana, Chief Midegah, Jessica, todos estamos involucrados en este proyecto en el que creemos que todas las personas son nativas, todas tienen algo de nativo que recuperar. We believe that everybody has something native to recover, something cultural to, we're all native from nature, we're all native from Mother Earth, we're all native from universe. I mean, there's many ways of seeing it, right? So that's what we think, and we're building, eso es lo que creemos, y estamos construyendo esta biblioteca que to preserve culture and art, para preservar la cultura y el arte y la ciencia, because we believe that in indigenous cultures there's a lot of science and culture and art to preserve. Creemos que en las culturas indígenas hay muchísima ciencia, cultura y arte que preservar. Por eso es que surge también Native, para atender esta necesidad. So that's why also we're creating this, because we see that urgency to recover. So we've been using also the great example of Phil Lane, Chief Phil Lane, that we also, it's our guide, it's our, his vision of the bioregion is amazing. Seguimos también la idea bioregional del abuelo Phil Lane, que es nuestro guía en términos bioregionales. Y so we build this library with a bioregional way, because we believe that every region has natural culture, indigenous culture to preserve. So we have the American Bioregional Library, but we also have the African Bioregional Library, the Oceania Bioregional Library, and so on, the Asian, the European. Entonces tenemos las bibliotecas bioregionales de cada región. Now we're using here the traditional naming. Aquí estamos usando el nombre tradicional, porque es la forma sencilla de comunicar. We're trying to find the ways simple to communicate. So we're using the standard names, but our cultures, each culture has different names for things, for land. Nuestras culturas tienen muchos distintos nombres para la tierra. América le podemos decir Aviala, como le dijo el Chief Lane. Aviala is for us, like Chief Midegah just said, it's America for us. So we have each one of these libraries, but not even that. If we go to the American Bioregion Library, we have also these also sub-bioregions, because there's bioregions, there's different climates, different weathers, different ways of living, different ways of using nature because of the conditions. Entonces tenemos estas distintas subbioregiones donde estamos, porque estamos conscientes de que hay distintos climas, hay distintas formas de convivir con la naturaleza. Es muy distinto convivir en un clima como este que vemos, frío, a uno cálido como en el que estoy, que es Tulum. It's very different to live in a climate like this one that we're looking at here, cold, freezing cold, than one that I am here in the Mayan bioregion in Tulum, in the Mayan Riviera. So it's very different that. So we have each one of these, but also for the Asian, because the Asian also have their own bioregions, their own cultures, their own ways of treating medicine and nature. So we have the Siberian bioregion, and we also have the Central Asian bioregion, and so on, so on. So it becomes a really ambitious project that goes out of the hands of a particular individual. This needs to be done in community, in union, in peace. So this is what I brought today to you, dear brothers, sisters. With all my respect, I thank you for the opportunity of sharing this word, for sharing my screen, and I think that's for my part. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks down in Quintana Roo. Love you, brother. So we're back to you, Joe.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Oh, it looks like I have to fix my audio.
I want to thank again everybody for being here. What a fantastic presentation. What a blessing. Qué bendición es tener todas estas personas de toda su variedad y estar aquí juntos y tener dos veces David Taylor. To have David Taylor twice, that is an honor that very few people get. Twice at the same time. Y también quiero decir a todos que escuchan aquí en la iglesia de Korihor, and everybody in the Church of Korihor, I especially want to say que escucha a mi nana Mima. You listen to my Nana Mima. She's got the wisdom, and I am appreciative of that. Now I'd like to have a chance. So we're going to talk now, like we talked about, David, to go ahead and do a question and answer. Wonderful.
Yeah, let's ask some Q&A. Before we start, I did want to formally invite Dr. Thomas Murphy, as well as yourself, to the September Festival of Leaders that's occurring in the oldest Mayan capital, in the oldest Mayan altar in Guatemala. And this will be over the equinox in September. And this is a sacred place. It overlooks Lake Atitlan and the western coastline of a lot of interactions historically between them and those across the waters.
Thank you for
and I'd
that.
like to invite you, and also Stephen Pinnaker of Mormon Book Reviews, that we all have the right to observe what's really going on. And we would certainly appreciate eyes on what's really going on. And it rhymes. So there you go.
Yeah,
Eyes
there you
on
go.
what's really going on. So let's ask some questions.
That's very convenient, seeing as that Guatemala. It's so nice they named it twice. That also rhymes. And Thomas W knows that very well. You spent some time down in Guatemala, didn't you, Thomas?
Yes, it was quite an honor for me back in the 1990s. I conducted a research project with members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Antigua, Guatemala. Estoy diciendo que viví en Antigua, Guatemala, hace muchos años, en 1993. What did you say?
No, we were just getting a little echo, I think, off
okay.
of David's microphone there.
Oh, okay, so we're good. Okay.
Yep.
Estudié y viví en Antigua. Y para estudiar o hacer un proyecto con los miembros de la Iglesia de Jesucristo de los últimos días, y un parte de mi proyecto fue sobre la salud y el otro fue sobre el libro Popol Vuh y los usos de Popol Vuh entre los mormones. Y publiqué algunos artículos en los 90s. So I was doing a research project in Antigua, Guatemala, working with members of the LDS Church, studying. On one side of the project was a health project, and the other side was at the instigation of the local members of that community, was a study of the relationship between the Popol Vuh and how it's being used by Mormons in Guatemala in tandem with the Book of Mormon. And I published articles about that back in the 1990s, and then revisited it a couple of years ago with an article in the Journal of Mormon History. And I'd be happy to share that with our guests. Escribí algunos artículos en los 90 y hace 2 o 3 años escribí un otro artículo reflejando en el estudio en el tiempo ahora. Quisiera I would like to learn a little more about how you would like to see Mormons approaching a sacred text like the Popol Vuh. Quisiera aprender más sobre cómo ustedes prefieren que los mormones usen el libro sagrado de Popol Vuh.
Popol.
Popol.
Popol Vuh.
Gracias.
Hay un tema ahí con el nombre que los españoles todo vinieron a deteriorarlo. ¿Puedes traducir, abuelita? No se oye.
Ahora sí, Adriana. De nuevo.
Sorry. Ahora sí.
Sí.
Ay. Ahora sí me
¿Se te
escuchan.
quedó? ¿Lo repito?
No. Ok, ahora sí. No, está bien, gracias, abuelita. So Nana Mima was saying that when the Spaniards came, they messed everything up.
En la palabra popol, en el idioma quiché, quiere decir podrido.
The word popol in the Kit language means rotten.
Y entonces, pero sagrado es pop.
But pop means sacred.
Entonces, buh es libro.
Buh también quiere decir libro.
Entonces, pop, buh, libro sagrado.
Entonces, so pop book means sacred book.
Pero ellos se pusieron popol vuh, libro podrido que no sirve para nada.
But they named it rotten book that doesn't serve anything.
Y es lo que siempre han hecho con todas las escrituras ancestrales de todos los pueblos.
And that's what they have done with all the ancestral records from all peoples.
Y muchos libros fueron quemados, muchas sabidurías.
Many books were burnt. A lot of wisdom was burnt.
Nuestras bibliotecas, cuando fueron quemadas, ardieron 2 años y medio sin apagarse.
Our libraries, when they burned them, they were on fire for 2 years without stopping the fire.
Y las más grandes eran la de Isimché y la de Cumarcaj.
And the greatest ones were from Comarca.
Gumarcaj
¿Cuál es el otro?
y Isimché.
Isimché.
Gumarcaj quiere decir la tierra de los celajes.
Comarca means the land of the color skies.
Y Isimché, el árbol del maíz.
And Simche means the corn tree.
O sea, es la milpa. Cada nombre tiene su significado, pero para los españoles todo era más fácil. Ponerle un nombre X que hiciera daño.
So everything had a meaning for us, but for the Spaniards, they didn't care. They just turned it as they wanted to do.
Antes de la invasión, nuestro territorio americano se llamaba Abya Yala, desde Alaska hasta Argentina.
Before the invasion, our territory was called Abya Yala, from the north to the Patagonia.
Sin fronteras.
No borders.
Como un solo pueblo. Como un solo pueblo.
Like one people.
Y en la ciudad de Guatemala existe todavía el lugar sagrado que se llama
City,
Caminal Juyú.
And in Guatemala City, there still exists the sacred place Caminal Juyú.
Eso quiere decir la escalera divina.
That means the divine stairway.
¿Y por qué le pusieron así? Porque bajaban del norte para acá, subían del sur para acá.
Why did they name it like that? Because they were coming all the way for the north to the center in Guatemala, and they were coming from the south to the center right there in Guatemala.
Era una gran fiesta donde se reunían todos los pueblos.
It was a great celebration with all the peoples would gather.
Y además de que hacían su fiesta de alegría, hacían sus intercambios de artesanías y de conocimientos.
So besides sharing their joy, they would share their knowledge, they would share their seeds, their ceremonies.
Y luego regresaban otra vez a sus territorios felices y contentos.
And everybody would go back to their own territories, happy and joyful.
Cuando fue la invasión, muchos se quedaron atrapados del norte aquí y del sur también, porque ya no pudieron regresar.
When the invasion happened, many of them got trapped in their pathways because they couldn't go back. Some of them had to stay in the south and some of them had to stay in the north and so on.
Y ahí fue donde empezó ya toda la historia que ustedes saben, la matanza, porque no fue conquista, sino fue invasión.
And there's where all the genocide started, as you all know, because it was not a conquest, it was an invasion.
Fue muy doloroso y eso es lo que estamos tratando de sanar.
It was very painful, and that is what we are working on healing.
A través de la reconciliación y el perdón.
through reconciliation and forgiveness.
Porque venimos atrás arrastrando desde hace 500 años ese dolor.
Because we've been carrying that pain through the last 500 years.
Porque no solo fue matanza, sino destrucción de la sabiduría ancestral.
Because it was not only murder and killing, it was also destroying the culture, the wisdom, the knowledge.
Algunos que otros libros que lograron tener para los mataban y quemaban el libro.
And so many times they would find the books and they would kill the people and burn the books.
Por eso ahora están apareciendo escritos que están enterrados porque muchos los enterraron.
And that's why so many records are appearing, because people would bury them, and now they are finding them.
El objetivo era que no quedaran pruebas de las civilizaciones ancestrales, ni mucho menos de sus conocimientos.
The objective was to erase all the ancient knowledge and their wisdom.
Y entonces cuando recordamos eso, pues obviamente da tristeza porque se perdió mucha sabiduría.
And evidently, when we think about that and when we remember that, we are sad because so much wisdom and so much knowledge was lost.
Como por ejemplo la cura de tanta enfermedad que existe, que no hay cura en apariencia, pero sí la hay.
For example, the medicine that was lost in so many ways, so many sicknesses, that there is a way to cure. There is medicine, ancient medicine, but it has disappeared.
El conocimiento ancestral de la astronomía, porque eran astrónomos nuestros mayas.
The ancestral knowledge of astronomy, because our ancient Mayans were astronomers.
Si no hubieran quemado nuestras bibliotecas, tuvieran el conocimiento de que hay en Marte y todo eso, que van a investigar y no encuentran nada.
They hadn't burned our records, they would know what is there in Mars, because we already knew what was there.
Pero ¿qué tenemos que hacer ahora?
But what do we have to do now?
No vamos a llorar por la leche derramada.
Yep. Yeah,
Después-
we're not just going to cry over spilled milk, she said. You let us go. Mientras tanto.
Entonces, mientras tanto, ¿qué tenemos que hacer? Pues sanar nuestros corazones.
Meanwhile, what else can we do but to heal our hearts?
Y entregar, trabajar la reconciliación
And work towards reconciliation
a través del respeto, el amor,
through respect and through love,
para que haya esa paz y ese perdón.
so there can be peace and there can be forgiveness.
Ese es nuestro trabajo ahora en esta era. Ya no, digamos, recordamos porque, por ejemplo, por el libro, ¿verdad? Pero no es ese el objetivo.
And for that is the work of our time. We do remember through the book, but that's not the objective.
El objetivo ahora es retornar a esa paz con la que vivían nuestros ancestros.
The objective is to return to the peace that once was discovered and known by our ancestors.
Recuperar esa unificación y a través de la reconciliación y el perdón, nada más.
And to repair that union is to bring back the peace and nothing else, nothing more than that.
Y por eso son los tropiezos que tenemos, casi hasta con amenazas de muerte.
Otra vez, señores, disculpe. Dana.
Que las amenazas que tenemos todo esto que estamos nosotros trabajando, el jefe Midegah, Adriana, el jefe Phil, estamos trabajando por la paz, por la unificación a través de la reconciliación y el perdón.
If you would like, I can go ahead. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Apologies.
No
Okay.
problem. No.
So, yes, so what Nana Mimi is saying that all the threats that we get because we're working for peace, unity, reconciliation, Chief Phil Lane Jr., Chief David Midegah, Nana Mima, myself, there are even threats because we are working for that.
Pero obviamente los seres oscuros no van a querer paz en el mundo.
The dark beings do not want peace in the world.
Entonces, ¿qué hacen? Empiezan a intrigar, a apoyar, a malinformar.
So what do? They start bringing gossip, bad information, misunderstandings, etc.
Levantando falsos testimonios, inventando cosas.
False testimonies, inventing things.
Y no solo eso, nos amenazan de muerte.
Even death threats.
Pero nosotros, ¿qué hacemos?
But what do?
Nos llenamos y nos empoderamos con la fuerza de los abuelos.
We empower with the energy of our elders.
Porque los abuelos son muy justos y ellos saben la verdad.
Because the elders are justice and they know the truth.
Y no somos los primeros que nos amenazan. ¿A cuántos no han silenciado por la verdad? Empezando por el Maestro Jesús.
And we're not the first ones that have been silenced because we carry the truth, starting with Jesus Christ.
Entonces, nosotros no tenemos miedo. Aquí estamos trabajando.
So we're not afraid. We're here working.
Podrán silenciar a uno. Ya atrás de mí viene otro.
If they silence me, behind me, there comes somebody else.
Entonces, nosotros estamos ahora tratando la manera con la unificación.
We're here today working for unification.
Tejiendo ese tejido.
Weaving that thread.
Hasta donde logremos llegar, hasta donde nos dé nuestra vida.
As far as we can get, so much our life gives us.
Y preparando a los que van a continuar ese tejido.
And preparing those who are coming behind us with that same thread.
No es fácil.
It's not easy.
Pero no es imposible.
But it's not impossible.
Somos guerreros.
We're warriors.
Pero no de pistola y cañón y espada.
But not with guns, with canyons, no.
Somos guerreros llevando la paz, la armonía, el amor, el perdón.
We're the warriors of peace, love, harmony, forgiveness.
Para que entonces haya la reconciliación y viene la unificación.
So reconciliation happens and then comes unification.
Qué lindo, se oye bien fácil, pero hay que estar en el pellejo de nosotros.
It sounds really beautiful, but you would have to be in our own feet to understand us.
Cuesta, pero aquí estamos, no nos rendimos porque los abuelos nos dan la fortaleza.
We don't give up because our elders give us the strength.
Y siempre he dicho, a mí me pueden decir, Mima es ladrona, Pero yo sé que no lo soy.
And
¿Por qué voy
anybody
a
can,
aceptar esa?
and I have always said, anybody can say that I'm a thief, but why shall I get disturbed? Because I know I'm not.
Pues no lo no voy a aceptar ni le voy a hacer caso, porque eso es perder mi energía en algo falso.
I'm not gonna pay attention in that, because that is to waste my energy in something that is false.
No me está quitando un ojo, una mano, una pierna,
It's not taking my eyes or my hands or my leg,
pero todo sale a la luz.
but everything comes to the light.
Tarde que temprano se aclaran las cosas.
Sooner or later,
Las nubes que
things
tapan el
come to
sagrado
clarity.
sol, las nubes que tapan el sagrado sol no siempre están ahí, de repente se despeja.
The clouds that are covering our Father's Son, they at some point in time move, and there comes the light.
Entonces, para mí, los ataques que puedan haber, pues los abuelos saben, bendiciones, bendiciones, nada más.
So anything that's trying to attack, the elders know, and we only send blessings. That's all.
Porque si yo me pongo, como decimos aquí en Buen Chapín, taco a taco, entonces se vuelve guerra.
So, like they would say in a good Chapin, that is language in Guatemala, taco to taco, then it becomes war.
Entonces, no, ¿para qué perder energía en lo que no sirve?
So why to lose energy in that is not worth it?
Mejor me echo un poco de vaselina y así, como el pato que no le cala el agua, que se le resbale todo.
So it's better I put myself grease like the dog, so the water just goes through.
Sí, entonces la vida es simple, la vida es muy linda. ¿Por
So
qué nos complicamos?
life is very simple. Life is beautiful. Why do we complicate it?
Y entonces estas personas caen en el error que dice la Sagrada Escritura de la Biblia.
So some people come into the mistake that talks the sacred book of the Bible.
¿Por qué te fijas en la mota que tiene el ojo de tu hermano y no te fijas en la bigota que tiene el tuyo?
Why do you see the piece of wood in your eye, of your brother's eye, and you don't see the one that you have in your own eye?
Nunca estarse fijando en el error de los demás para estarlo atacando y entonces ellos ser famosos y grandes.
So they rejoice in talking about the others' mistakes or invented mistakes just to feel bigger and to feel more.
Es triste tener que lograr fama a costilla de calumnias y de poner en mal a otros.
It is very sad to try to become famous through somebody else's judgment.
¿Por qué no? Si quieren ser famosos, que se metan a una maratón a ver quién llega primero.
If they want to be famous, they should run a marathon, and maybe we can run together and see who gets there first.
Quiere ser famoso, pero no famoso poniendo en mal a otro y exponiéndole la vida, pues eso no es justo.
It's not fair that they try to become famous on somebody else's
Por eso para nosotros
Yeah.
el calendario lunar es lo mejor, porque ahí está todo. Hay justicia, hay arte, hay medicina, hay química, hay arquitectura, hay ingeniería, comercio, todo está ahí.
That's why we follow the moon calendar, because you can find everything there. Astrology, medicine, agriculture, architecture, engineering, everything is in there.
Entonces, por eso es que nosotros no nos preocupamos, porque sabemos que tenemos dentro del calendario maya un día de la justicia y la
That's why we
justicia
don't
divina
worry, because in the Mayan calendar, there is one day of justice, and divine justice, it's
es el único lugar donde no hay corrupción.
the only place where there's no corruption.
Ahí no le puedo ir a decir, mira, Dios, te doy 20,000, pero
I cannot go to the elders and offer some money, so I get what I want.
todo delincuente tiene que pagar la ley de causa y efecto.
The law of cause and effect, there's no
Toda
way
acción,
to avoid it.
toda acción tiene una reacción.
Every action has a reaction.
Entonces ya creo que me volví a extender, pero
Excuse me, I think I extended again.
No, está muy bien, está muy bien. Quiero hacerle una pregunta. Gracias, Nana. Gracias, muchas gracias por darnos esta sabiduría. Thank you for this wisdom. I want to say, I hear a hurt. Yo oigo un daño en su palabra y también en su intención, in your word and in your intentions. That que me suena a mí, that very much resonates with me. Que decimos una palabra, we have a word, right, that we say, genocide. Y que he dicho muchas veces, I have said many times que la matanza, the genocide, no es solamente matar. It's not just that it kills. Es que roba la historia y la identidad. It robs identity. It robs who you are. Y eso se trata. Hay un daño muy recién para ustedes. There's a very recent hurt, it feels to me. Que a la vez que le han ayudado, at the same time, un apoyo, the aid came para construir una puente, to construct a bridge. There was also a voice, también había una voz para, bueno, para juntar dinero, ¿no? To gather money together. Y para pagar para un libro, to pay for a book, supuestamente, supposedly. Y también para, en la misma vez, poner el narrativo, to put a narration, to put a story into this book, en este libro, en esta historia, que se ha puesto por hombres gringos. That's a white man's story into a story, an indigenous story, en una historia indígena, de gente indígena, ¿no? Y yo quisiera que nos puedan compartir, a la vez que de repente nos podemos dar una esperanza. Anybody, if you would like to give us some hope, what is your hope for the future that emerges, que sube de ese daño, from that hurt? Go ahead.
Thank you so much, brother. I would say that this was a great opportunity to show us how to stay together and how to keep on working for our mission and vision in life, which is restore Mother Earth and unite human family with love, respect, and harmony. So we just recognize that it was a good teaching to just get stronger and keep on moving forward. And we are very appreciative for any help, because that is always very positive for everybody. So it is possible to support us, because that is what means to restore. It is possible, and it's part of the prophecy, to help the indigenous peoples restore. Why? Because after so much damage, what's most important is to restore our Mother Earth. And through that, we will restore our spirituality, we will restore our culture, we will restore our ways to flourish, which is part of our prophecies. Because when they buried us, they didn't know that we were seeds. And those seeds, it's the time now to flourish, to come back, and to nourish not only our Mother Earth, but our human family. So we take this as an opportunity, and even as a channel to get to more people, so that anybody can understand and just awaken, grow, and that we just keep on moving forward in a loving way, in a peaceful way, in a respectful way. We don't want more hurt in any ways. And this is a great teachings from our beloved Chief Phil Lane Jr. And now, as our beloved brother David Midegah walks by us, we are learning together and doing it together. And that's what our Chief David just told us yesterday. The greatest part of this moment is that we are going back to do things. We don't need to talk about things. We're going back to do things, to restore our cultures, to restore our spiritual strength, to restore our peoples for the future, or of our Mother Earth, of our human family. I will translate to Nana Mima in a message.
Thank you very much. David, it occurred to me that we haven't introduced the lovely person who's next to you here. This is Jessica, who is here to come to and support. I'd love to hear from you, Jessica. Is there a hurt in this episode that has been special, that has been especially hard for you? You've seen your brother take some. David is your brother. You've seen him take some serious heats.
I have. It's not easy seeing what my brother goes through. It's not easy seeing people who we have come to love as brothers and sisters, grandfathers and grandmothers, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, cousins, going after him for speaking truth. And not only do they go after him, but because they are going after him, other family members are being hurt and persecuted because of it. And all we can do is pray for those that are hurting us and ask for forgiveness for them. Help them find forgiveness for what they're saying and doing, and try and hold them accountable for their actions.
As I understand it, Jessica, I don't know if you want to comment on this, and you're perfectly well within your rights to say, Joe, too personal, and then I'll just drop it and move on. But my understanding is that there's been a lot of reaching out to your family to ask very intrusive things in an effort to try and discredit your brother. And by the way, I'd like to take this opportunity before you answer. And I know I don't want to speak too much here because this is about listening. But I want to interject just enough to say, because and in fact, I'm gonna put myself next to David. Hi. This is about you and me, and we've had this conversation with many late night conversations. That over the course of the last year, trying to find out who you are, and not believing that you are who you claim to be. I've said hurtful things, and I have done hurtful things, and I've been a part of this. I have been part of the hurt. And I want to take this opportunity to say to you, David, publicly, as I have stated privately, that I acknowledge the hurt I have caused you. I knew I was reaching out and hurting a human being, someone who had a heart like mine. I was curious, and I didn't believe you, and I jumped to several conclusions in the process. And I want to let you know, I know that other podcasters, they're responsible for their own behavior, but I have to say, I was surprised with how much my hold on, let me just make sure. Let me just okay, sorry, trying to cut back down on feedback. How much I didn't realize, and how stupid I felt. I said this very thing to Tom Murphy when we first met. How stupid it made me feel to talk to you and realize, as I went back and said, some claims David makes, some claims were white men making them thinking they could speak for him. That when he wasn't in the room, or he wasn't in the chat, or he wasn't there, that white men came in and made this narrative and says, it's just like David says, it's just like Midegah says. And because that's the culture I come from, sometimes I just believed it. And I understand that you're not perfect. I acknowledge that. You've acknowledged that to me. But I just want to say and leave it open to you and to Jessica, if you want to be able to say that you have, if I have hurt you, I acknowledge that and I apologize, man. And I hear the heart in you, and I want you, and I would love for you to just say what's in your heart.
Yeah, I received that, and we've talked quite a bit, because I was never trying to say anything other than what I was entrusted to share. And I always thought that I was opening a door for others to come in and meet with those who haven't been heard. And we're not talking one spot. It's from Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories and the Dene that watched this whole thing play down, looking down, to the Mapuche of Patagonia that closed their borders off for 200 years and have looked up, to the Maya in the middle that have spread into the canopies to hold on to what's left, to the Algonquin of northern Quebec who never signed any treaty, and yet everybody comes and takes, to the Anishinaabe of the Great Lakes who signed a lot of treaties and they just got cut in half and had all of them ignored. I just went around because I had a grandmother and a great uncle who said, you got to grow. You're not who you're supposed to be because you've been blinded by a life of hardship. And I have to apologize. When I was named Midegah, he's a kind man. And I remember acutely afterwards saying, I'm not. And my grandmother, who saw something in me that could change our family history, a woman who was 8 years old, standing in her front yard in Belcourt, North Dakota, an Indian agent seized her as she watched her mother screaming, and she was taken 1,500 miles away to northern Idaho to a boarding school, to a father that was so shattered, and even uncles that are shattered and that hate each other because of the life they had to live pre-1978 in the US. There's a lot of trauma that I carry in trying to be good enough to be in my family. I was a child who couldn't carry my father's last name because he was in prison, and they thought it's hard enough that you're an Indian in a logging town. I had treaties that they told me from men that were great that would give me like an idea, but I never knew the hardship that was really. There's two hardships. There's a hardship of a hard life, and there's a hardship of having your spirit crushed. And there's nothing more spirit crushing than not being able to have your family as one. And it is hard to deal with Americans who want to partition you in portions as if it's their right to say they get to decide if you're in your family, but they always say you're good enough to be in theirs. And I was in the military, and I dealt with things that I put those scars on my heart by my own choice. But I have the right to honor my culture and my traditions and my elders, no matter when I woke up. When I was entrusted, I moved my feet and I grew. The attacks have caused me moments and the threats to life and the threats to my children's lives. People crossing oceans and showing up at houses. Listening to churches call for peace in their places, but tell everybody to destroy us. What is the difference now from then? It's not that different. But I can speak your language now, and I have the same education as you. And I just would plead with you to listen to the elders with the little that it's left, because I am telling you, it is ash, and there's only embers that could go out. And when they do, it's gone forever. Mima said that there's so much lost medicine. It's actually a Midegah song that was given to me at the Garden River Ojibwe Nation, and it's from symbols. If I write those symbols on this paper, how is that any different? And they have a meaning. How is that any different than if you put John 6:3:16 on your shirt? You'd say that's scripture, even if it's on your shirt. But if we put our sacred things on things, we're mocked and abused as if it has to go away forever. And what a shame. What a shame. Because of the opportunity we have to live side by side. The only thing that got me through it, the only thing, because these people that are on here right now, and the ones that were on earlier, and the ones that couldn't get on, because we're not so good on technology, okay? But they encouraged me every single time I wanted to crumble, because I couldn't understand bridging two families, a Smith, and a grandson of the first signer of the very first treaty the US ever made, and you light your fireworks off and celebrate a period of time that doesn't connect to you, while refusing my right to honor my grandfathers and my grandmothers. And all we were saying, and all I'm still saying, is that what you hold sacred and dear, it's Anglicized. It's for your language and for your understanding, but it has a source. That source wasn't a fabrication in the mind of a teenage boy in the 1820s. as Dr. Murphy knows, that source is found in the 17th century, in the 18th century, and in some traditions, they would say way further back. But it's certainly before Joseph Smith. And so we have the right to say that. It's not, I think the problem that I encountered, is it okay if I go a little bit here?
Absolutely.
I think the problem I encountered was other people's expectations. I think Dr. Murphy has probably encountered this a lot, where they get a hold of our prophecies and they forget they're ours. And they get a hold of our records and history anglicized and they forget it's rooted in our grandfathers and grandmothers. And if anybody has a right to talk about their ancestors, how would they feel if we lectured them on theirs in Europe? Don't we have the right as a hemisphere, a hemisphere, to have ownership in the first person of our history, our spirituality, and our identity? And why do you have to control it? Why do we have to give something up to share it? And so I'd say that the most challenging thing for me is I was a 5.5-year-old boy that fell and severed my tongue. I held it in my hand. The doctor gave me $1 when he sewed it on without anesthesia and I didn't cry, and I thought that was good. He should have gave me more. Okay. I'm just telling you right now. And I'm not sharing this as a pity party. I'm just telling you. I spent the majority of my childhood never feeling good enough in a culture that didn't want me or accept me because of what was happening with my family. And even with those who were LDS telling me how dirty I was or how I had to change to be different than my ancestors, as if they knew if they were righteous or not. I read the Book of Mormon, and there are portions that appear metaphorical to talk about groups of people in individuals. And the conduct is what's being talked about, different conducts. And I didn't see a lot of difference between the conducts of what they said were bad then and what was occurring now. And I didn't see a lack of righteousness that was occurring, or righteousness that was occurring then, and I didn't see a lacking of it in our culture now. And I often wondered who the real Lamanites are, because the only ones I've met are church people. And I don't understand it, and I don't think I have to. We never asked anybody to believe what they read. We asked people to understand we share something in common. We don't have to believe what you have either, but we have to find something in common. And there certainly is something in common. So when I'm in a position of knowing, and I like this term that Dr. Murphy used, the knowing. This comes through many different mechanisms of awareness, which is the foundation of the Midegah faith structure. It's awareness, which brings knowledge, information, which allows you understanding, because you're a reflection of the Creator and creation. And then that brings wisdom, the proper way to live. The proper way to live is with restraint, tolerance, and respect. It's not with replacement. It's not with trying to seek ownership. And even then, when the Europeans came, we were many and they were few, and we showed respect. And now they're many and we're few because of their policies. And they blame us for the lack of continuity and lack of cohesion that they caused. They need to at least give us the dignity of speaking our history and our faith. You can't claim the liberties of Western civilization, the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion, and then restrict it for the only group on the world, an entire hemisphere, that doesn't even have the dignity of the ownership of their family unity. And I think that is forgotten. Your borders were not put there by God. They were put there by men who were genociders. And we are in a generation where you can look back and say that period was genocide, but your courts still use that genocide to adjudicate our complaints in the modern age. And we don't see this shared anywhere else in the world. We don't see Germany, where I am right now at 6 a.m., up all night with you, to give two boys the dignity of their father's dignity, and yet they can't Google my name. Why? Because I shared the traditions of peoples that you never listened to in the first place, because it's a little too familiar to what you have. Aren't you saying that it's a part of indigenous history what you have? So there, if you remove it from indigenous, then it's a fabrication in your hands. And yet we're saying it's not. That we have influenced you as much as you've influenced us. But perhaps it's time for you to stop applying the past to us today and live side by side. I would never go. I'm sorry, but I have to say this because my son, David, has the right to the identity of his mother, German. He also has the right to the identity of his father, Anishinaabe Maya. He also has the right to your identity, American. He also has the right to the identity of his family, Canadian. Your border split us into how can we be defined by your geographical boundaries? We are defined by our family history. And that's what's forgotten. And I don't know what to make of it. Regardless of the dumb mistakes I've made, Joe, and I think you know, I really pretty much am one of the few that'll talk about them all. Okay?
I'm
This
another
is the
one.
only way to heal.
About
To
mine.
accept you can't reflect without acceptance. You can't ask for forgiveness to be impeccable if you don't own it. And boy, I've punted balls out of bounds. Let me tell you. But there were elders that saw a stubborn moose who had a resilience to push through deep oppression and to break through over and over and over, and optimism for the next breath. While there are those that want to drag me back to their idea of who we're supposed to be, what is what? Walking around in leather and headdresses and living in teepees because we don't have the dignity of running water and electricity? We can have that and take care of the earth. We can do both. But the worst of it are the death threats. The worst of it is that my children don't have the right to the dignity of their father's dignity. And it seemingly appears, and this is where I draw the hard line. Why are you so defensive? Why are you so... You can't stab somebody and then when they respond, blame that, or then justify your stabbing by their reaction. I have to believe that if my son David comes home to Guatemala, or to Chiapas, or to Colombia, or to Argentina, or to Brazil, this is home for our people, or the United States, or Canada, that there will be those that try to remove from him his right of connection with his father. What people, what character would tell the firstborn son of a father, as they did to me, Joe, with my dad, and say the dad is an Indian, but the son cannot because we say so. And the grandson, I will let nobody break my connection with my son, or with my daughters, or even with my deceased son who is still with me. And if that defensiveness, that wall, that this is a sensitivity you can't touch, but I always responded with love. I affirm your truth, whatever your truth is. I don't have to believe your truth. I have to say that your truth is your truth, and I value and respect it. Joe, you and I are the last two people that should even get along or be friends based off of the way that, as you've seen, views things.
Yes.
And yet you are a kind heart. You are honest. You truly seek to find out the truth. Really. And I think it's a real shame that for a year, so many people were refused that because of the narratives of what other people wanted to occur, which is replacement, which is soul ownership, which is for you to be quiet and accept how it is. It'll never go back. This is how it always is. No, this is not how it will always be. It's an entire hemisphere, Joe. You know, so it's been challenging. My family supported me. Part of my family hasn't. And this is the same as every family. We're going to have troublemakers, and most of the worst troublemakers are the ones at the kitchen table. You know, but I can affirm one thing, and that's what Thomas Murphy has been saying is absolutely true, and he was saying it long before I ever came along. And there were Indians saying it back in the 1800s, long before Joseph Smith came along. And there were Indians in the 1700s and in the 1600s who were saying the same thing. And whether they were influenced, you have to stop thinking that the Eastern Hemisphere is the only one that influenced across water. We influenced too. If you know that 70% of all copper in the Bronze Age was supplied from North America, then it's been thousands of years of cross-referencing of information to the point that you can't divide it. So therefore, we have more in common, and we should be able to sit as one at a fire. But what we've seen are those that just want to destroy your life. Well, how can somebody sit in a pew with you if you're trying to destroy their life? How's that possible? It's not possible. And I'll just say one last thing. It's the Indians who will save the Indians. No white man in a suit and tie is going to save the Indians. We have to save ourselves, but you got to be a part of that process by removing the gates. And there's no bigger gate than the one you put in our heads. You put it in our heads. And that has to change. We're trying real hard. But thank you for asking that question. You're seeing something. We like to talk long. So next question.
You know, I think that we've gone 2 hours. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, you can't hear me. Of course. We have gone 2 hours. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I do appreciate everything. I want to give a chance now to Tom, in case you wanted to say or ask any questions or wrap up in anything. And again, I want to thank Dr. Thomas Murphy for being here with us and for let me make sure. Okay, and for speaking what's in your heart and for listening. I want to recognize that Tom said he was going to come here and he was going to listen and he was going to learn. And you all are witnesses. You guys here in the room and you guys out there, you are all witnesses that he has done that. He has been true and faithful to his cause there, and I am grateful to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I wanted to say one thing. That's okay. The most important thing you can do is encourage indigenous peoples to share their voice. Mm-hmm. That's it. All right, Dr. Murphy.
Quisiera dar agradecimientos a nuestros invitados. I'd like to give thanks to our guests. Para dar a mí una oportunidad de ser un testigo. So I'd like to thank them for the chance to be a witness to this work that's happening today. Un testigo a la obra que ha pasado. Cuando estuve escribiendo este libro, Unsettling Scripture, Iroquois, and the Book of Mormon, aprendí de la gente iroqués, los Haudenosaunee se dice, que ellos tienen cuentas semejantes al libro de Mormón. Y en sus en sus cuentas. Hay otras personas que trabajan con el peacemaker. Y las personas se llama Hiawatha y el madre de las naciones. La madre. Y Hiawatha introducí una tradición de limpiar las lágrimas y amplía los ojos o los
Oídos.
orejas.
Oídos.
Sí, mi español no es perfecto, por favor. Pero, so I'll say this in English. As I was working on this book, Unsettling Scripture, Iroquois, and the Book of Mormon, I learned from the Haudenosaunee, the people that are called the Iroquois, about their stories of the peacemaker, and then their stories of the peacemaker, which are older than those we see in the Book of Mormon, and they're fuller, they're more complete. And in those stories, there are other characters besides the peacemaker. And those characters include the Mother of Nations and Hiawatha. And Hiawatha introduced a ritual, and that ritual involved wiping the tears from those who have suffered, from those who have lost, and unplugging your ears and listening to the stories of others. These are ingredients of peacemaking that Joseph Smith forgot to include in the Book of Mormon.
Wow.
Esos conocimientos sobre ¿cómo se dice? To listen is
Escuchar. Para
escuchar.
escuchar.
Sí, escuchar. Para escuchar es parte de la paz, es parte de la paz, es una necesidad para paz. Y para escuchar y también para tener empatía para los otros. I hope that today we have modeled for our community the greater message of the peacemaker that could have been part of the Book of Mormon. It could have been there. And that's what I'd like to end with. So quisiera finalizar con la cuenta o la idea de hay cuentas más grandes que estos que están en el libro de Mormón. Son cuentas indígenas, son cuentas más amplias, más verdaderos. Y esos necesitamos encontrarlos al lado de otras escrituras. Y eso es todo para mí. Gracias a ustedes.
Gracias a usted, Dr. Thomas Murphy. Quiero agradecer, and I would like to thank. Oh, go ahead, David. Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw a meme post or an image that said, "Where do we go next?" Well, let me tell you what we're doing next. Under this great vision, Chief Phil Lane began this journey 58 years ago. I got pulled into that through elders right here and elsewhere, and they're everywhere, that he has built a spider web that is an unbreakable iron. And we know and this is sad, and Thomas Murphy knows, and so do you, we are not wanted or welcome anywhere. And it should be different than that. And so we're going to show an example of love. We have been working greatly with the tribes of northern Mexico, which live in autonomous regions, with the largest congregation of indigenous together in all of North America. And those governors that we have been working with have received us and this great mission from the Maya from the south the Salish and Anishinaabe from the north, that will be headquartering our special project in a 50,000 acre reserve in northern Mexico, where we are taking to the region thousands of pomegranate trees, thousands of seeds, as we restore a desert to an orchard and share all of our wisdom that we all have together as one, where we will call for our brothers and sisters across the river that they call illegal humans on the land that their ancestors have never left, to come back south, to come back where you're safe, to come where you're wanted. And we would call on Americans and their government to allow them safe passage to return home. We know we're not wanted, so let us show you what we can do when we're together. To those that are in the South fleeing violence heading north, we are calling them to this refuge. The world has forgotten the humanitarian crisis of the Western Hemisphere. So we're going to show you indigenous healing of love and kindness. Now, for me, my family is not safe, and it's mostly because of churches. My family is going to be protected by the tribal peoples in northern Mexico. And it's a sad thing that we have to go north to be free today. It used to be a time that you went north to be free, not south to be free, but now we're going south. So that's what we're doing next. We have a kickoff on May 31st, where we speak before tens of thousands. And we explain that every record is sacred. Joe, your experience is sacred. Dr. Murphy, your life is sacred. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go turn a desert into an orchard. And we'll hope you learn something from us. That it can't just be talk, it has to be walk. And we hope you join us. Chief Sinajwan McKinney will be managing the logistical coordination on the American side of the border. For anybody that would like to assist, we are calling for equipment and we are calling for materials. We're not calling for cash. We're calling for things to help us communicate. We're calling for Starlinks. We're calling for solar panels. We're calling for battery packs. We're calling for communication technology, video teleconferencing. We're calling for wood to build these spaces, and we've received a lot already. And we are calling for you to participate in lifting us up into a space of preservation so that you can tell your ancestors through your action, we should never have been in reservations. It's time for us to heal. And you either have to be a part of the process, which is your prophecy too, and it's certainly our prophecy too. And so that's what we're doing, Joe, and you are always invited, as are you, Dr. Murphy. And I would want to close that I personally was given my oath to Ogima. Remember when they all met me, I was just one of 49 clan headmen, helping my great uncle, who is the acting treaty chief, of a treaty that is not terminated, meaning we exist. Only Congress can terminate our treaty. Never happened. We exist. But in December of 2024, when they saw that I finally understood the struggle of my grandmother and my great grandfathers, they made me an Ogima, and it was the Mohawk Nation and the Mohawk Longhouse of Canada that gave me that sacred oath and put that wampum in my hand as they wiped my tears. And I want to take you there. It's a formal invitation to take you there, Dr. Murphy, to go mouth to mouth. And I will remind all those listening, from the very beginning, we invited you. We invited you. We weren't trying to preach to you. We were saying we love you. It's time for us to fulfill the highest obligations of our character, because we're the walking earth. We are the prayers of our ancestors made flesh. Either we are going to change the future, or we're going to have to inform you we're not disappearing. And so that's what I'd like to close with. That's what we're going to do. And for any of those who also dwell in deserts that didn't fix it, we'll come help you too. Just let us know.
Thank you very much, David. Okay. Quiero agradecer otra vez. David Midegah, thank you for being here. Gracias a usted. I honor you and I thank you for telling me your truth. Thank you for sharing with me and thank you for giving us an opportunity to learn. My co-host today, tremendous author and scholar and a gentleman, Dr. Thomas W. Murphy. Adriana, I am so grateful to have met you. Estoy
Thank
muy
you.
agradecido conocerla. Mucho gusto en conocerla. Mucho gusto. Jessica, thank you
Gracias.
so much. Mucho gusto en conocer a usted. I feel so fortunate. Pero
Mm.
tal vez más que nada quiero decir que siento una conexión muy especial con usted, Nana Mima. Gracias por venir aquí, gracias por compartir su sabiduría, gracias por bendecirme a mí. Me siento muy bendecido. Gracias a usted.
Nos quitaron nuestras ramas, nuestras hojas, pero nuestras raíces no. Ahora empezamos a retoñar y a florecer.
Gracias a usted. All right, we shall remove everybody, sadly enough, and I'll put myself up briefly. We're going to close with a closing hymn. I want to thank everybody here, but I would like to also just say for a moment, just a little piece of my piece, just for the record more than anything else. You know, I've had a lot of people approach me, some of them more forcefully than others, saying, why do you suddenly believe everything that David Taylor says? I said before, I say again, I don't. But unlike others, he sat with me. He told me. And do I believe everything he says? I don't believe everything anybody says. But I believe this. When a person can sit there and tell me, I know you believe differently than I do, I believe when that person says, I want peace. I believe when that person says, I want the truth. I believe when that person says, I want to make my people flourish in the desert, which I gave a whole godless sermon once upon a time about how I thought I could imagine no genocide worse than the terrifying idea that the Lamanites would flourish as a rose in the desert. There are those who feel differently than me. I respect their feeling. I said to Anton Troyer in the first episode I made, trying to debunk Chief Midegah, and I've apologized to him already. But more than anything else, I said, look, I don't want to spend this whole time talking about somebody else. And another Ojibwe man, I said to him, I said, how do you feel about this? There's a book out there. He'd never read the Book of Mormon, so I doubt he has yet. And it says that of the Lamanites, that God cursed them and put a skin of blackness on them so they would become loathsome to righteous white people, the Nephites. And there are all kinds of interpretations on what that meant. There's this whole story about whites being ites, that there were no more ites. I learned about that because of Dr. Thomas Murphy, who was here. And thank you again, Dr. Murphy, for being here, for sharing that with me, sharing me your wisdom. That hurt me as a child. That church hurt still lasts. I was a Mexican kid who couldn't call himself a Mexican kid, growing up in a white culture and a white man's church with a white man's name, where I could pass as a white man most of the time. I couldn't tell myself, much less anybody else, that my ancestors were Mexicans who the border didn't cross that border. That border crossed us. My grandmother picked vegetables out of the fields in migrant camps. Kids used to make jokes about that growing up in Arizona, and I had to laugh as if it was funny, knowing that it was my grandmother's story. The curse placed upon the Lamanites is not our skin. Our skin is beautiful, if that's who we are. I didn't even know then that I had a great grandmother who was Zuni, the Pueblo Indian. I didn't know then, we didn't know then that we had ancestors who were Jews, who fled Europe to come to this continent so they wouldn't be murdered during the Inquisition. We didn't even know. They kept that hidden from us to keep themselves safe. The curse that we inherited was this word, Lamanite. That's, I'm convinced, is the curse. Because in that curse, if you read Mormon history, I highly recommend people read a book. I know it's been maligned lately. There's a book called Brigham's Destroying Angel, in which a man who was a Mormon killer, a gunslinger, a Mormon killer, talks about how disgraceful some of his brethren in the church were, and the mountain men, the white men living in Utah. This is a man who killed people for Brigham Young, and he did. Yes, Tim Rathbone. And he said how terrible it was that they gave the Indians whiskey. And he said, I can't believe how people would do that. They would give whiskey to these people, knowing that their bodies don't react to it the same way that ours do, and it destroys it steals their future, and it destroys their lives. And he was a man, it was a Mormon man who drank whiskey back then. Mormon men did. Get over it. There's a secret for you. It was the hate of words that cursed the Lamanites. It was the word Lamanite. It was the word, to some extent, Indian. And there were so many more words, let's not say them. It was the words that hurt these people. And with that, I will end now and say and thank you again. Gracias a ustedes. Thank you all for being here. And I will share with you something that I wrote. Another song, perhaps not David's favorite, but one of mine. And it's a quote from the Book of Mormon, if you could believe it, and from my favorite character in the Book of Mormon. 3 guesses who it is. Korihor said, "You say that this people is a curse and a fallen people because of the sins of a parent, the transgressions of a parent. Behold, I say unto you," get through it, Joe, that a child is not guilty because of a parent. Amen.
Child is not guilty for laughing too loud, making mistakes, or chasing a cloud. Let children speak. Listen, you will find their laughter wonder, potential undefined. Let them run, let them laugh and grow. Sing the song that only their hearts know. A child is not guilty, born to be free. Don't blame them because of you or me. Give them room to play. Korihors wisdom, we're born of the sky. The children in us look up to ask why. Remember innocence, you will see their joyful voices echoing you and me. Let them run wild like the river's course, free of gods, of sin, of our remorse. A child is not guilty, born to be free. Don't blame them because of you or me. Let them dance, let them shout, they illuminate the way. A child is not guilty, give them room to play. We are all born immature, flawed in each other's minds. We all judge and are judged all of our childish lives. Let this voice speak, all judgments melt. The wondrous child within yourself. A child is not guilty, born to be free. Don't blame them because of you or me. Let them dance, let them shout, they illuminate the way. A child is not guilty, give them room to play.